Thus, with three mighty knocks ringing in the listener's ears, Mozart's final and most mysterious opera, The Magic Flute, opens. First performed in 1791, and opening only 9 weeks before its composer's untimely death, The Magic Flute has been recognized for centuries as a distinctly Masonic composition. That Mozart was an enthusiastic and active Freemason is well known. The author of the libretto for The Magic Flute, Emanuel Schikaneder, a close friend of Mozart, was also a Mason, and they were members of the same lodge. Impressions of Mozart's Masonic ideals may be found in a number of his compositions, such as the Little Masonic Cantata, the Mason's Joy Cantata, and the Masonic Funeral Music. References to the Masonic symbolism and message of the Magic Flute began to circulate from its first performances. Indeed, the first publication of its libretto in 1791 included illustrations swamped with Masonic imagery, including working tools, stars, and Egyptian symbols. This video will briefly explore some of the specifically Masonic images, messages, and symbols in the opera, specific not only to Freemasonry, but also to the Masonic world in Austria in the early 1790s. To start with the plot of the opera. At first glance it seems topsy-turvy, dreamlike, a fairy tale for adults. The setting is a distant land, vaguely Egyptian or Oriental in nature, a land in which mystery and legend are part of everyday reality. Tamino, a young explorer, finds himself in a mysterious tomb-like maze. A terrible monster begins stalking him, and, in his panic to escape, Tamino knocks himself out. At that moment, 3 women arrive to send the monster back to whatever vault it escaped from. The 3 women serve the Queen of the Night, and they go, promising to return. Tamino comes to, not sure where he is or even whether he's dreaming or not. Another bizarre figure appears. It's Papageno, the former ornithologist, now birdcatcher who works for the Queen of the Night. Papageno claims to have defeated the monster, but the 3 women return and make it clear that they were the ones who rescued Tamino. To stop Papageno fibbing, they put a stopper in his mouth. They give Tamino a locket with a portrait of the Queen of the Night's daughter, Pamina. Tamino immediately falls in love with Pamina and vows to rescue her from the terrible man who has kidnapped her. The Queen of the Night hears his vow and arrives to promise that the moment Pamina is rescued, she will be Tamino's bride. The 3 women give Tamino a magic flute to protect him on his mission. They give both men spirits to guide them on their quest. Tamino and Papageno set off to rescue Pamina. Pamina is trying to escape from the maze, but she is caught by Monostatos, the man assigned to guard her. Papageno stumbles in and tells Pamina that a handsome young man is in love with her and they must go to meet him. Tamino, meanwhile, encounters a stranger who questions him about his reasons for being in this tomb. Tamino tells him that he's here to rescue a young woman from an evil man. The stranger tells Tamino he doesn't know the true story about Pamina's kidnap. The stranger is, in fact, Sarastro, Pamino's father and leader of a band of philosophers working in the tomb. Sarastro tells Tamino that he must join the philosophers or never find his way out of the maze. Sarastro and the philosophers convene and agree that Tamino is ready to undergo 3 trials that will lead to membership of their circle. The first trial is the trial by silence. The spirit guides appear to tell the 2 men to be brave in the coming trials. They feed them to build up their strength for what is to come. Pamina finds Tamino, but he can't speak to her because of the trial by silence. She thinks he doesn't love her anymore and is heartbroken. She thinks that only death will end her suffering. Monostatos finds the unhappy Pamina and decides to make her his, but the Queen of the Night arrives. She is impatient for Tamino to lead Pamina out of the tomb. She admits she also wants to know the secret knowledge that Sarastro is uncovering. When Pamina tells her Tamino will become one of the philosophers, the Queen of the Night is enraged. She tells Pamina She must kill Sesostro, or she will no longer be her daughter. Sesostro comforts Pamina and tells her that the secret knowledge he has uncovered involves forgiveness and resistance to the urge for revenge. Tamino is led to the next two trials, the trial by fire and the trial by water, by two priests in protective outfits. Pamina bravely leads Tamino through the secret doors that lead to the two trials. Her love and the music of the magic flute protect them, and they survive. They are welcomed into the band of the philosophers. Monostatos is now aiding and abetting the Queen of the Night, and they are about to blow up the tomb when Sesostro exposes their plot. But, instead of punishing them, he heeds his own philosophy and humbles himself before them, asking forgiveness for having been so angry towards them. Everyone sings of the joy and harmony that comes from listening to this wisdom. In a Masonic sense, many of the elements of the plot are clear enough. Our heroes are on the quest for enlightenment and true love, and must pass through 3 levels of initiation to be admitted members of a philosophical school where great truths will be revealed. The quest completed, a spirit of universal harmony prevails, and all are united in joy. Throughout the opera, symbols of both craft and ancient accepted Scottish Rite Freemasonry abound. To start, most of the opera is written in the key of E flat. This key has 3 flats in its time signature, and the number 3, representing the craft, and 18, representing the Scottish Rite, are evident throughout. You've already heard the 3 great knocks that announce the overture. There are 3 ladies. There are 3 spirit guides. In the libretto, there is a reference to the 3 supporting pillars of Freemasonry: wisdom, strength, and beauty. 3 trials must be undergone to achieve entry into the Society of the Philosophers. 3 questions are asked by the High Priest Sesostro: whether Tamino has virtue, is discreet, and practices charity. These obviously correspond literally to the commands of Masonry. 3 E-flat major chords are played by the horns to mark the consent of the priests to receive Tamino into their ranks. They are the exact musical portrayal of the 3 handclaps of the first degree in Austrian lodges. In terms of the number 18, there is a lineup of 18 priests, which is a clear reference to the 18th degree of the Scottish Rite. The priests also stand with their hands crossed on their breasts, as prescribed in the Rose Choir degree. The orchestral introduction of the scene with the armed men on the temple door contains precisely 18 sets of notes. Sesostro, the High Priest, representing the Venerable Master of the Lodge, appears for the first time in Act 18, Scene 18. When Sesostro enters, there is, as the 1791 libretto makes it clear, 18 priests and 18 chairs, and the first part of their choir, Isis and Osiris, has 18 measures. When Papageno asks Papagena how old she is, she replies, 18. And when the 3 spirit guides appear suspended over the stage on a machine, the libretto emphasizes that the machine must be covered in roses. In terms of other Masonic symbolism, of all the characters in the opera, the speaker or high priest is taken bodily from the Masonic ritual. The guardian of order and discipline, he fulfills a function as senior warden and gives the neophytes their first instruction. In the scenery for the original production, displayed in the settings are a ladle, an hourglass, and compass. Above the entrance to the sacred temple is the 5-pointed blazing star with the letter G in its centre, all symbolic insignia familiar to Masons. Then, in the dialogue between Tamino and the priest, Masonry is referred to as an exclusively male craft. Also, the following lines are sung by Tamino, the hero of the opera, undoubtedly reflecting the symbolic journey of the blind Masonic initiate. When, endless night, wilt thou be riven? When will the light to me be given? Tamino and his companions are then led into the large ante-room of the temple, and the speaker is asked to instruct the neophyte in his human duties. Clearly, the opera's initiation rites are associated with the practices used in the Masonic Lodge, especially in the opera's scenes of trial by fire and water. At the time of the opera's premiere, the struggle between the reactionary forces of the Catholic Church and the growing rationalist spirit of the Enlightenment, typified by Freemasonry, was at its height. For the Viennese audiences of 1791, the message of the opera could not have been clearer. Pamina represents Austria itself, torn between the darkness of totalitarianism under the Empress Maria Theresa, or the Queen of the Night, and the light of the Masonic ideal. Sasastro corresponds to Freemasonry itself. Tamino is the enlightened hero destined to save Pamina from darkness and to consecrate her to the light. Papageno, the funny figure of the bird seller who represents the common man, has the common concerns of material comfort, finding a beautiful and affectionate wife, good wine, and a rich table. With this interpretation in mind, what would Mozart's contemporaries have made of the famous Queen of the Night aria, as the forces of darkness threaten the very existence of the craft? The magic flute remains by itself the greatest instance of what could be achieved in over a century of speech and singing experiments. Such was its impact on 19th century Germanic culture that German composer Richard Wagner considered it the cornerstone of German opera and described it as the masterpiece of unsurpassed perfection which virtually eliminated any such expansion. While synthesizing the best of the past, the magic flute brings a break in opera history, heralding its future.